Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name is William and this is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we're going to be doing another FSEconomy flight, flying the Carenado Mooney M20R. We're going to be departing out of Desert Rock, Nevada, flying on to 29 Palms in California for a fun flight, stretching the legs of the Mooney a little bit more than we normally do, but some beautiful desert scenery along the way, and hopefully some cool landmarks maybe we could pick out as well. Anyways, I hope you all do enjoy. If you do, make sure to give the video a like. It does help me out a ton, and I really appreciate it. As always, consider subscribing if you want to see more content. Let's get into it. Welcome on board the Mooney M20, everybody. We're sitting here on the ramp at Desert Rock. We're actually not too far away from Area 51. Just outside of Las Vegas as well. So, but we're in our Mooney here, and we're not going to mess with any of that. We're going to get on our way to 29 Palms, carrying just a small amount of cargo for a bit of a fun flight here. I am planning on navigating between a couple VORs. We're going to use the GPS quite a bit, but also put in the frequencies and just kind of yeah, we'll see what we can do. We should be passing by some cool stuff. Hopefully, we can pick out on the ground as well. So, I'm going to go ahead and go through and just get the aircraft started up, and then we will be ready to start our flight and get on out of here. Okay, everyone, we've got the aircraft started up. GPS is set up. We've also got our VORs plugged in on the frequencies as well if we want to switch over to those and give them a go while we're in flight. We're going to go ahead and pull up the client, and we will start our flight. You can see it's alias to M20 Bravo. We're on the ground at Desert Rock, so we'll go flight actions and start flight. We are renting this aircraft, and we're carrying a very small amount of cargo on to 29 Palms. It must be pretty important for what they're paying as well. So we'll go ahead and hide the client now. We should be ready to go. We could see a little bit of a fuel imbalance, but it's about 4 gallons, so we should be okay on that, and we're on the left tank already. And just confirming the fuel amount, we should be fine to make our way to 29 Palms on that amount of fuel. So we've got our taxi lights on. Lights are all set. All that's good. So we're going to go ahead and start our taxi on. I'm going to use, I think we're going to go for runway 20 for our departure out of here. I was initially planning runway 02, but the wind seems pretty calm. So we're going to go ahead and switch our heading bug on over to a heading of 220, and we'll plan that for our departure, and just put it on runway heading. That way we've got something to track, or we can arm a heading mode or whatever we need to do for our way out of here. See all the little mountains kind of surrounding us. I love this airplane. Easy enough for me to say. And something about the desert as well. I've always been a big fan. So this should be a fun flight. I'm hoping we're going to be able to spot the there's a big solar farm that's going to be should be off our left wing while we're en route. That would be pretty cool to be able to see what it looks like in the sim. And if we went up to the northeast a little bit, that's kind of the direction Area 51 is. I believe it's actually in the sim as well. Be kind of cool to check out. We're going to go ahead and go for an intersection departure from here. We should be just fine on available runway. You can see there's absolutely nothing around. Really does seem like we are in the middle of nowhere. We've got 11,000 feet set in our autopilot bug there. So we're going to go ahead and arm that. Let's see, get the flight director up. We'll arm that, and then we're going to come over, and it's got vertical speed, and we could set this up just to 1,000 feet a minute, and we can engage that whenever we're ready. But from the other aircraft I've been flying, I think it's actually better to do it this way. Set it on the altitude mode already, and then proceed to set it up like that, and then go for vertical speed engage afterwards. So we'll see if that works the same on this or not. And we're also going to go ahead and arm the heading mode, just so it's there for us in case we need it. Flaps to takeoff position. Let's go ahead and get our landing lights on, taxi light off, and we'll go recog light as well as our strobe light. And then let's bring it down and put our transponder into altitude mode. Nav's on, we're going from GPS, everything else looks like it is going to be good. We're going to look to rotate on out at about 70 knots, climb straight ahead runway heading, get our gear up and our flaps in once we got a positive rate, and we'll say accelerating through 80 knots. We'll get the flaps in. Alright, let's go ahead and take the runway. Also straight ahead on runway heading, we might be able to see a nice dry lake bed. So we might fly that for just a moment. Alright, lining up, we're just going to go straight into the takeoff roll, so full power. Airspeed's alive, and it is already getting pretty crazy. We are up. Gear up. And there's 80 knots. We have a positive rate. We are continuing to accelerate. So let's go ahead and get our flaps in. Kind of veered a little bit, so we'll bring it back to the, sorry, it should have been heading at 200. I have it set to 220, so not too far off. We'll actually just fly about 210 and hand fly for the moment. We're going to be climbing up to 11,000 for our en route portion. We're going to make the most of what we can right now for the climb. Just look at all these mountains around us. It's absolutely beautiful. Awesome plane too. Continuing to climb out, we're doing 1,500 feet a minute. Gotta remember to swap our tanks around and everything and stay on top of it. That way we don't get a crazy fuel imbalance. I believe if we come to the left, we might be able to see it out the window. For the dry lake bed. It is quite a ways out there, so I don't necessarily want to fly all the way out to the dry lake bed, but that's probably it. Way over there, this mountain range. Highway that probably feels like you're completely by yourself when you're on it. Alright, so we're going to proceed direct to our first point, which is hidden 32 nautical miles to our south here, or to the south here. So we're going to go ahead and flip it on over to nav mode. And we're going to engage vertical speed. Put it up to 1,000 feet per minute. Yeah, it didn't work the way it did in the other aircraft. That's fine. We'll do 1,200 feet per minute, and we will Yep, it is set on 11,000, so we're going to arm that, and now we're going to engage that. It's a bit cumbersome, and if you have any kind of turbulence or anything, it becomes quite a task. So let's go ahead and activate the autopilot. So now it's on nav mode. We're going to go ahead and take this moment to get our landing lights off and our recog light off. See if we switch this over to, I believe it's 128 is what we're going to be looking for to track into Goffs, which is our first VOR on 114.4. Always a little bit strange setting these up though. Don't have an exact idea of where it's at. Call that about right, but it's probably tracking on the GPS. We'll see. Let's go ahead and lean the mixture back a little bit. You hear the engine pick up. Yeah, so that's showing how aligned we are to our track on the GPS, because as we're capturing it, it kind of recentered itself. So I'm sure if we switch that over at hidden, we should proceed direct to Goffs, and that'll be on about that inbound. So we could switch it over and see if it's working the way I think it should be anyways. But we are very much so en route now. See all of that cool stuff out behind us. Nice range of mountains and a bunch of desert as well. Alright, we are almost up to 10,000 for 11. Got the plane doing about 137 knots across the ground, and we're still a little bit heavier on the left tank than we are on the right, so we'll keep it on the left tank at least for a moment. Just gotta make sure that we check it and change it en route if needed. Other than that, I think everything else looks pretty decent. We're going to have to really make sure we get this thing trimmed out the way it needs to be. Once we level at cruise here, just want to make sure it is going to capture. I don't think it is, so we're going to arm. Just make sure, force it to do it, and it'll capture there at 11,000 feet. Okay, our mixture looks like it's all right. We'll probably adjust after we pull our power back a little bit. We definitely will. So we're going to stick on 17 there. Actually, we'll go ahead and pull back to 12 gallons per hour. And now we're going to lean even more. Alrighty, so we're showing about, that'll probably come down a little bit more, about 55 minutes to 29 palms, 176 knots across the ground at the moment, and continue to accelerate. We're still about 19 nautical miles from hidden, and then we'll turn inbound on our track to Goffs. So for now, we'll just kind of enjoy the sights and make sure we don't let our fuel situation get away from us too much. I really do not understand why I like the desert so much, but absolutely beautiful stuff we're flying over as we are just now about to arrive at Hidden, where we are going to make a left turn and continue on to Golf's VOR, which is on 114.4. I just checked the chart. The minimum reception altitude on this is 14,000. We're safe at 11,000, but there's not a guarantee that we'll be able to pick up Golf's at this altitude, as we are 68 nautical miles away. Since we're flying it off of the GPS, we're just going to let it do its thing, and should be able to see if it picks up basically just as we get a little bit closer and come within range of it. We'll see if that kind of works the way it should. But anyways, we are making our way now, almost about 190 knots across the ground. We just now got even on our fuel in the tanks as well. So what I plan on doing here is we're going to burn that left tank and continue to burn it on the way to Golf's. And then I think we've got about the same distance of a leg as we turn down into 29 Palms, maybe a little bit longer, but that'll be okay. So we'll switch over to the right once we get to Golf's, and then if we need to switch back to the left prior to our landing, or whenever we're about to start an approach or something along those lines, that'll be something that we can go through whenever we're making our way in. But either way, an absolutely gorgeous day up here, completely clear, a little bit of haze. Kind of expect that from the desert, but it is beautiful, and we are continuing on now inbound to Golf's VOR. Alrighty, we're going to check back in real quick. Off to our left here, you can see this is Mesquite Lake, if I am not mistaken. So we're flying along our track here between Hidden and Golf Foxtrot Sierra, or the Golf's VOR. We're doing 186 knots across the ground. Just burned off a little bit more now on the left tank, so we're about balanced on our fuel. We've also picked up the station here, GFS, and it looks like we're on a 312 outbound radial from the actual VOR. So if we just line that up on 132 on the inbound for 312, that should, yep, 312, 132, 2 from, and it's the 2. Anyways, we can also see it down here. It's showing us 40.6 and 40.5. So that's actually pretty interesting. I wonder if that is the variance between GPS giving us an exact point on the ground compared to where we are, and if this is actually showing us the slant range, and that's why we're getting a different reading. Interesting stuff either way. This was my marker I was looking to on the map. I want to see if that's kind of what that looks like up there. On the other side of Mesquite Lake, on the chart, it showed a big solar farm. And I do believe that is what we're seeing right there out the window. So all that is solar panels around this area. It's pretty neat. I don't think it's anything more than just on the texture on the ground. Maybe if we got a little bit closer, but with the settings being turned down so I can actually do these flights and hopefully not get crazy amounts of stutters or anything like that. Either way, that is nice to see. Also, just kind of navigating and picking up points like that, and actually being able to see it on the ground as well. That's one of the reasons I think this sim is absolutely fantastic if you want to work on some of your VFR flying, your dead reckoning, that kind of stuff. Really cool to see either way. So yeah, big old solar farm off to our left. We've still got 35 nautical miles until we are at Goffs, and we're showing 36 minutes now out of 29 Palms. I'm going to stick with the plan. We're going to stick on our left tank until arriving at Goffs, and at that point we will switch over to the right. And yeah, hope you all are enjoying. We're going to try and see if we can pick up a couple more cool sights along the way. I'll check back in with you at Goffs or on the leg inbound to 29 Palms, where we're going to start to plan our descent and our arrival into runway 26 there at 29 Palms. Alright, we are about 10 miles past Goffs now, on the way to Jotnu, little fix right before 29 Palms. I'm going to go ahead and switch the frequency over to 29 Palms on 114.2, and we can see we are 56 nautical miles from 29 Palms. You can just see it there at the bottom of the GPS screen right there. Tango November Papa is 29 Palms. We're going to be inbound to that, 188 knots across the ground at the moment. We're showing just about 20 minutes out from the field. We'll go Jotnu to 29 Palms, and then 29 Palms straight into runway 26. I'm going to go ahead and set 260 in on the heading bug, and then we're going to switch our fuel tank over to the right tank so we can start burning off of that. We got a 5-gallon difference, so we should be able to just stay on the right tank basically the entire way in, and that's pretty much where we're at the moment. So if I wanted to, we could see we're on the 016 radial outbound from 29 Palms if we were going to fly in directly, but since we're going to Jotnu, we're kind of outbound from Goffs on a radial to Jotnu, and then we would pick up a different radial inbound to 29 Palms. We're just going to let the GPS continue to do its thing. Still enjoying the nice barren desert here. As the sun's starting to get a little bit lower. Gonna continue cruising around at 11,000, and we will be ready to begin our descent here before too long. Alrighty, just a little update here. We are 4.5 nautical miles now from Jotnu. Fuel situation, we're still good on the right tank, and we'll stay on the right tank all the way into 29 Palms. We're going to go ahead and set up our descent. From Jotnu to 29 Palms, I'm estimating it's going to take us about 10, I'm sorry, not quite 10 minutes. It'll be enough time for us to start our descent down. We're going about, we're at 11,000 feet. We're going to make our way down to 3,000. So we're going to go ahead and put that in the altitude selector. And crossing Jotnu, we're going to start down. Then from 29 Palms VOR to the field is just under 10 nautical miles. That's what I was what I was thinking of. So I want to be at a decent approach altitude at 29 Palms to where we can just proceed directly inbound for runway 26 on a visual approach. So there we go, 18 nautical miles now from the 29 Palm VOR. We're going to be going down, like I said, from 11,000 down to 3,000. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to arm the altitude capture, and we're going to very carefully select the vertical speed selector there, and we're going to bump it on down as well as continue to pull the power out just a little bit. We're going to bump it on down to 1,000 feet per minute. So we are going down, like I said, to 3,000. The 29 Palms airfield elevation is at just under 1,900 feet. So 3,000 will put us about 1,100 feet above the ground. We're going to have to bump the descent up, I think, if we're going to make it by 29 Palms. But we can also go ahead and zoom in here. Also, I didn't mention it before, but our flight path was kind of taking us right between. This is some restricted airspace here around the other airfield for 29 Palms. Bunch of restricted airspace here, and since we were departing out of an area really close to Area 51, there's a whole bunch of restricted airspace up in that region as well, and it was keeping us nice and clear of it. You can see still really enjoying the scenery here in the desert. This is kind of an area I would have hated to fly in older flight sims, but I don't know, in Flight Sim 2020 it is, I mean, they're all very interesting, but really the desert's one of those that I don't think you can really appreciate unless you're getting the satellite imagery like we are. We're direct now, like I said, to 29 Palms VOR. This dry lake bed here is the Dale lake bed. So that is pretty cool to see. Once again, just kind of showing that you can look at the little points on the map and pick them up and fly pretty well based off of them if you were just going to go that route. We're 10 nautical miles now. We have just under 6,000 feet to go, so we're going to pull the power back. I'm going to bump the mixture in a little bit, and let's see, I want to see if we can get down to 1,500 feet per minute, and we can zoom. We can let our airspeed climb up. We're in relatively smooth air, so we just make sure we keep it a little bit of chop going over the mountains and whatnot. So if we get into the yellow arc, that's okay with me. We can see now we've picked up, and we're tracking 2 on the, what is that, the 208 inbound. And we're going to go ahead and go landing lights on. We're going to have 29 Palms off our right side here. Kind of, oh, there it is right there. I was looking a little too far right. So there's the runway end identification lights The real lights just blinking away off in the distance. And that is where we're going to. So we're going to keep it coming down. 1,500 feet per minute should work just fine for us all the way in. We're still on 20 gallons on the right side, so we should be okay to just kind of stick with that. As well as just kind of a little note for us on our approach in. We can put our gear down 140 knots, and our flaps are going to come in around the top of the white arc there, which is 110. We'll be shooting for about 65 or 70 knots on the approach in, and if we need to, we can always pop some speed brakes. Absolutely love that on this aircraft. So we're just now about to 5,000 for 3,002 nautical miles now from the VOR. We're going to keep the descent down to 1,500 feet per minute. So we already have the airfield in sight. The VOR kind of takes us a little bit past and in. It's not going to be straight in or anything like that for the runway. But we're going to be okay with that since we are a little bit fast and a touch high. We'll be at 3,000 in 1 minute. And now I'm going to go ahead and bump the mixture in. And as we're getting down to about 3,000, we're going to go ahead and go full mixture. See, we're 7.7 nautical miles now from the field. We can still see the lights blinking away. We're going to let it fly us in for the moment. That's 140 knots for the gear, which is all the way down here. So we're going to pull the power back as we're leveling at 3. Let's get our airspeed down to 140. We can go ahead and get our gear out. Just 145. And there is 140. So gear down. We're going to go ahead and take over manual control of the aircraft. And line ourselves up a little bit more with 2.6. Just about 4 nautical miles now. And we're hovering right around 110 knots. Let's go ahead and pitch a little bit to get our airspeed down. Get our first notch of flaps out. That'll help us with our airspeed all the way in now. You don't need to get too slow. Also double check and make sure we're on local altimeter. Should have done that a little bit earlier, but we're good now. We're about to line up on final for runway 26 at 29 palms. Second notch of flaps out. Next one will take us all the way to landing flaps. really just to get our airspeed down a little bit more. Once again, just kind of pitch a little bit, bring it down to about 90 knots. And about 1.5 miles, going to go full landing flaps here. And pitch for our airspeed through 80. We're wanting to go for about 70 knots, so let's keep pitching and power for our altitude. It's going to be a little bit fast, but that's all right. This plane does not like to shed airspeed at all. Short final now, runway 26. Just aiming for those 1,000 footers. Almost perfect. A little bit hard on the nose, but we are down nevertheless. All right. Welcome to 29 Palms, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed the flight. I actually really enjoyed this one. I love flying this airplane. If you want to see some more flights in the Mooney, let me know in the comments below. It seems like hit and miss with the flights in this thing sometimes, so I would definitely appreciate it if you guys left the feedback on that one. I absolutely love flying this plane, though. Solid recommendation if you're into general aviation aircraft. You want to fly something a little bit more complex and fast as well. This thing is a ton of fun. We're going to pull off to the right here. Let's clear the runway. I got my first notch of flaps in already just because this plane is a little bit of a challenge to handle on the ground. Alright, let's go ahead and altimeter on to standby, flaps all the way in, taxi light on, landing light off, strobe off. And we're going to taxi on over to the ramp off to our right over there. We will complete our flight at that point, but as always, I've enjoyed sharing this flight with you guys. I love doing these, so I really do appreciate all the support. Giving a video a like is extremely helpful, and I really do appreciate it, just the way YouTube works. I definitely do appreciate it, and it like I said, it does help a ton. As always, if you want to see more content, consider giving the channel a subscription, whatever. Subscribe to the channel, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Be doing... for me, I think I'm going to be flying this thing a little bit more just because I do love it so much, but I would love to get your guys' feedback as well, like I said before, so definitely let me know. We're going to pull her on up and circle back. That's not quite straight. A little bit more power. And there we are, looking at the nice mountains all around us. Let's go ahead and get our taxi light off. We'll pull the client up, and all I've got to do here is set my parking brake, and that is going to send the results to the server. Our flight has now been logged, and that little bit of cargo has been delivered to 29 Palms. And a super fun flight in the Mooney, as always, has come to an end. So thank you all so much for watching, hanging out today, and checking this video out. Like I said, I love being able to share these with you guys. So until next time, bye bye.